Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Ellie Stein, and I'm here with a special feature video on how to improve cognitive function. Now, the topic of cognitive function is of special interest to people in the complex chronic disease community. Most of us suffer from brain fog, trouble concentrating, poor memory, etc. So there's a lot of interest in this topic. Now, healthy cognitive function requires healthy amounts of a naturally produced molecule called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. BDNF was first discovered in 1982 by German scientist Dr. Joseph L. Barda. It's one of a larger group of molecules that play critical roles in the growth, survival, and maintenance of neurons. And important to this conversation, BDNF is really helpful for neuroplasticity, our ability to rewire the brain to learn new things and to remember them. In this video, I'm going to share 7 strategies you may want to consider to increase your cognitive function through the action of these strategies on BDNF and neuroplasticity. If you're already in a neuroplasticity-based brain training program or you're thinking of starting one, be aware that if you implement some or all of these 7 strategies, you're probably going to progress faster and make more progress. The beauty of these strategies is that they're all things you can implement yourself and they're low to no cost. So I'm going to start with exercise. Now, I'm aware some of you can exercise, many of you can't, so do what you can. Exercise has long been known to improve cognitive health. In fact, it's one of the most effective strategies to stave off dementia. Both aerobic exercise, things like walking, swimming, dancing, etc., and high-intensity interval training, where you really go all out for short periods of time, interspersed with periods of rest. So both of these are shown to result in increased levels of BDNF and improved cognitive health. Virtually all successful anti-dementia programs include exercise as a key component. And yes, you heard me correctly, it is possible to stave off dementia. The next category of intervention after exercise is diet. Now, to function optimally, you can practice stuff all you want, but if the brain doesn't have the nutrients it needs, it won't learn and remember. So what kind of things do you want to eat to keep your brain healthy? One of the key molecules is the omega-3 fatty acid called DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. That's a bit of a mouthful. It's found in high concentrations in the brain as well as the eyes and the heart, and it plays critical roles in many things, but including brain development in infants. So it's really important for mothers to have a diet high in omega-3 fatty acids and overall neuronal health. Now, where do you get DHA? You get it in fish, especially small fatty fish, things like sardines and mackerel. Many people don't like fish, right? They find fish smelly or they just don't have a hankering for it. And so many modern humans are deficient in DHA, and this may be a contributor to the increasing prevalence of dementia in our society. Now, along with DHA, when you ingest fatty fish, you're also going to get a healthy serving of another molecule called EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, and this one is really helpful for mood. In fact, research shows that EPA at significant doses, you can't just take 1 or 2 tablets, you have to take 8 capsules a day, but it's equally effective as SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors for depression. So that's quite impressive. And of course, it doesn't have all the same side effects that some people get with SSRIs. Now, another really helpful group of foods are the polyphenols. These are the colorful molecules that you find in bright yellow, orange, purple, and red foods. They exert some of their health effects through the process of hormesis. I've been quite excited about hormesis. It's the process in which we take a small dose of a substance or a behavior that's a little bit stressful for the body and is just enough to nudge the body into higher action. So when people eat polyphenols, it's a little bit stressful for the body and it actually triggers an increased level of BDNF. That means our brain can function better and we can learn and remember new things. This is one reason why things like berries and green tea are healthy. And it's said that foods that are blue, so things like blueberries, are especially beneficial for brain health. Another really helpful food, often taken in supplement form in this case, is curcumin. It's naturally occurring from the root turmeric. It has so many beneficial health effects, one of which is benefits for brain health. Curcumin is also anti-inflammatory, it's an antioxidant, and it's protective against things like cancer and heart disease. Finally, what talk of food would be complete without mention of magnesium, right? Magnesium is very popular at the moment. I did a couple recent blogs on magnesium, and in them I mentioned that magnesium threonate, threonate, may be one of the most effective forms of magnesium specific to cognitive health because it's able to cross the blood-brain barrier better than some of the other forms. But research shows that other forms like magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, and magnesium taurate may also have some modest benefits for cognitive function. So far we've got exercise and diet. The next category of things you could try are mental stimulation. So some, but not all forms of cognitive training have been shown to enhance cognitive function through the effect on, you guessed it, BDNF. Some popular programs are called Active, Brain HQ, and Cognifit. And all three of them have studies supporting that if older people do these programs consistently, it's usually somewhere between 15 and 60 minutes a day, depending on the program, it seems to enhance neuroplasticity and it improves cognitive function in aging adults. Also, kind of in the general category of cognitive stimulation is socialization. So you may have heard the saying of late that loneliness is the new smoking. This comes from research showing that when people are lonely, it has as negative an impact on health as smoking. That's pretty shocking. And interestingly, socialization, so the opposite of loneliness, seems to support brain health, possibly through its effects on BDNF. Finally, what topic of cognitive stimulation would be complete without talking about mindfulness meditation? So this is one of the most robust literatures, dozens, hundreds of studies showing that mindfulness meditation enhances cognitive function. It actually makes the thickness of our gray matter thicker due to creating so many new neural connections. And this, of course, is due to BDNF because we need BDNF for neuroplasticity or new neural connections to form. So mindfulness and meditation are effective because of neuroplasticity. The next health tip is sleep. Adequate duration and quality of sleep is essential for brain health. It turns out that both deep sleep and REM or dreaming sleep are when we produce BDNF. The BDNF allows us to actually consolidate or hardwire the experiences we've had during the day. So sleep is critical to remembering whatever you did the day before. So if you're taking the time and effort to sign up and do a neuroplasticity-based practice, following your practice up with a good night's sleep is going to make you progress faster. Now, this one's a little bit out in left field. You may have heard of something called forest bathing. It's really popular in Japan, and they've done research showing that forest bathing or hanging out in a forest improves health. Well, apparently there's some evidence, it's not massive, but it's present, that being in nature, even in things like urban parks, increases cognitive function through an impact on BDNF. Next, I'm going to talk about stress. Most people have a very negative connotation of stress, and they're aware that stress has negative impacts on health when it's chronic, right? Acute stress, no problem. It can be life-saving to save us from danger, but chronic stress seems to have negative impacts. Now, I have done a whole recording on the fact that these negative impacts seem to be influenced by our mindset about stress. So it may be that if we fear stress and we believe it to be kind of negative and out of our control, that it actually is more negative. So something to keep in mind. But in any event, when we're under chronic stress, in general, our cortisol levels go up, and cortisol has been shown to decrease BDNF, decrease cognition, so we can't think as clearly, and even decrease, and this is still a bit controversial, the production of new baby healthy neurons in our hippocampus. That's the memory centers of the brain. So it's thought that one reason why stress management is a successful strategy, and it's part of almost any package that you're going to hear about regarding cognitive health, it's always going to include stress management. This is because stress management will lower cortisol levels and allow BDNF to bounce back to normal so that you can learn and remember new things. Now, for the brain to function optimally, you don't only have to provide it with the good, but you also have to protect it from the bad. This means toxins. Some of the best studies and most replicated studies around brain toxins are showing the negative impacts of alcohol and smoking tobacco, both of which reduce BDNF levels. But the mitochondria are also really critical for brain health because the brain is such, we'll call it an energy pig. It's a really high user of energy. And this means we have to have healthy mitochondria for the brain to be able to work. Humans are exposed to many potential mitochondrial toxins, and these include things like heavy metals, mercury, lead, arsenic, some antibiotics and antiviral drugs, naturally occurring toxins from mold, so just occurring in nature or in water-damaged buildings. Statin drugs, these are the drugs commonly prescribed to lower cholesterol, and anything that increases oxidative stress. So to sum up, if you want to maintain and even improve your cognitive health, and yes, improvement as we age is possible, consider these 7 strategies. Number 1, exercise as much as you're able. If you have severe PEM, do not push yourself into a crash. That will be counterproductive. So only if you're able and as much as you're able. Aerobic exercise, especially with some bursts of high intensity, seem to be the most effective for brain health. Eat a diet rich in small, healthy fish, things like sardines and mackerel. Eat a lot of colorful plant-based foods, especially things that are blue, and consider supplementing with curcumin and a magnesium supplement. Do things every single day to stimulate your brain, and ideally pick activities you enjoy because it's probably more important to be consistent than to be perfect. So if you choose a program that you really don't like, chances are you're not going to stick with it. And these Self-management strategies for brain health are things that you need to do really for the rest of your life because you want to keep improving your brain health. You don't want to plateau and kind of dive down the other side. To the extent possible, find ways to improve your sleep. You want to get a good enough quality sleep, meaning deep sleep and rapid eye movement sleep, and you want to get enough hours, which is generally thought to be about 7. Spend as much time as possible outside in nature. I haven't gone into it in this recording, but in addition, why is nature beneficial? There's many, many reasons, but some of them include sunlight and grounding your bare skin on the earth so that we get the negative ions from the earth. Find some ways to manage stress and consider reframing stress, shifting your mindset so that you see stress as an opportunity instead of something to be feared. And finally, do what you can to protect your brain from neurotoxins and mitochondrial toxins. Thanks for your interest in this recording, and I look forward to your feedback.